Hey, everybody. You're listening to Fireball Podcast with Ashleigh Mayfield, and this is episode 23. What is up, everybody? Welcome back, whether you're listening on the podcast or you are watching on YouTube. This is going to be a little bit more interactive if you are on YouTube, so get ready. Buckle up and brace for impact as always. Today, we're going to talk about raising your foundation. Now, if you've been following me for any length of time, you know that I'm a huge dreamer. You know I'm a huge visionary. I'm constantly putting things out there. I'm constantly chasing the next thing. I'm always asking myself, what's next? And I have taught all over the country on so many episodes of whether I'm on Facebook, you're following me on Instagram, or even here on YouTube, where if you tie, you will die. If you get exactly what it is that you want, if you crush your goal and you don't have a what's next in mind, you're literally going to take yourself out. So today, how does success take you out? Well, it's because you're not raising your foundation. So many of us, we set our eye on the prize, whether it doesn't matter what area of your life it is. What area of your life are you trying to change right now? Is it your health? Is it your faith? Is it your finances? Is it in your family? It doesn't matter, right? Whenever you get exactly what it is that you want, if you are not raising the level of your foundation, if you are not creating a new norm, you are literally going to wipe yourself out. And this concept absolutely blows my mind. It blows my mind how sometimes we aim for something and we just want to attain it. Have you ever been there, my friend? Have you ever wanted something so bad and you got it and then you took yourself out because you did not have a what's next? And what I find more often than not is attaining something is super awesome, but that's not where the sexy is. And we all try to be sexy right now. I know that's right. Okay. There is nothing sexy in attaining a goal. There's nothing sexy in crossing a finish line. The sexy is in the sustenance. The sexy is the sustainability. The sexy is the ability to cultivate and create a new norm on the inside of you. So, whenever people are getting healthy, think about it like this. Whenever people are getting healthy and they're either wanting to implement a new regimen, they're wanting to do a new diet, a new workout, maybe get on some supplements, some protein, whatever it is, right? Literally, we can approach things and we could say, well, what happens when I stop? Have you ever said that? Have you ever known anybody to say that? Well, what happens, I want to be on the supplement for 90 days, but what happens when I stop? So I want to be able to go to the gym and get the abs, but what happens when I stop? And we're not looking at life as cultivating and creating a new norm. We're not looking at life as raising a level of our foundation and dreaming and thinking about the new person we need to be. What are the results going to require? How do I have to change? How do I have to evolve? How do I have to adapt in order to sustain the line that I'm crossing? Sometimes we just want to check it off. And then all of a sudden, we wonder why we start digressing. We wonder why we hit the goal. We reached the physique that we wanted. We got the family structure that we wanted. We got the morning routine that we wanted. We hit the financial goal that we wanted. And then all of a sudden we start going backwards. And it's because in our brain, we did not raise the level of foundation in which what we will no longer tolerate in our life. You see, if I'm going to go to the gym for 30, 60, 90, 3 months, 6 months, doesn't even matter. If I'm going to go to gyms for a certain length of time, I'm going to make sure that I'm not just attaining something, because why would I invest all this hard work into trying to crush a goal just for me to go back to how life was? Have you ever seen these reality shows where people go all in and they lose 200, 300, 400 pounds, and it's this incredible transformation. And then all of a sudden it all falls apart and they're elbow deep in Doritos again. Probably even worse off than what they originally were. You think about all these people that inherit money or became millionaires and they blew it all because they did not raise the level of their foundation. They did not cultivate and create a new norm on the inside of them of what they were no longer going to tolerate. They didn't change those tendencies. They didn't change those bad habits. They didn't lean into becoming a new person that is required in order to sustain growth, and not just sustain where they're at and get like on the lip of the mountain, but be able to grow beyond that. So I want to challenge you as you are setting out your goals, whether that is a daily goal, a weekly goal, how are you going to raise the level of foundation where you're no longer going to tolerate the things that you used to do? Right? And so if you're watching me on YouTube, you're going to see, here we have a foundation, and that foundation can be I want to be able to grow my business or promote to a certain position at my 9 to 5. That way I can be in charge, get a little bit less off my plate, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Just recorded the episode about delegation. We should want to delegate. The problem is whenever we delegate, we don't delegate to just get things off our plate and kick our feet up. We delegate that way we can step into a new realm of doing things that only we can do, right? And so as we have this new level that we're trying to achieve, if our foundation is here, if we just start growing and we start thinking about all the possibilities, but we don't raise our foundation, look at the gap. Look how volatile that is. And again, if you're watching me on YouTube, you're going to be able to see this. There's such a large gap. The goal is that as we're here and our goal is here, we start growing with it. And so you'll notice sometimes, even in leadership, maybe even at your job, if your company is growing at such a rate, if the culture is growing, if the leadership is growing, if the sales are coming in at such a rate, but you have someone that's a part of the organization that is not growing, you have somebody that is not developing at the same rate of the organization, they're probably going to feel a little disconnected. Have you ever had someone like that? Have you ever had someone that says, I feel like it's moving without me. I feel like maybe you don't care about me as a leader anymore, or maybe I'm not as important at this job as I thought I was. And my friend, that's not true. They're not growing at the rate that the organization is growing. And so they're down here where the foundation has been raised. And you'll always find the people that get uncomfortable when the foundation has been raised, because the bar, it's going to require them to level up, right? What about in our health life? In our health and our fitness. And so you could be down here and you want a physique that's right here. You want to be able to look confident in that swimsuit. You want to look confident in that sexy dress. You're going on a cruise. You want to be able to look good. You want to be able to take family photos and not hide behind your kids anymore. We've all been there. It's okay. But as you're growing and as you're getting healthy and as you're implementing these good changes that you need, as you start going there and achieving the things, if you don't raise the foundation, look at how volatile you are. Look at the gap. One thing could take you out. One potluck at your workplace could take you out. One holiday could take you out. Your kids going trick-or-treating and getting a whole bag of candy, and you got to tax that, because y'all know how most mamas do. We always got to tax stuff. Yeah, I'm a fireball that, because I be taxing my kids all the time, okay? That's called mom tax. And but if you don't raise the level of your foundation, something's going to take you out, and look how far down you can fall. Opposed to whenever you go, you say, I'm no longer going to tolerate just eating randomly when I go to my job. I'm no longer going to tolerate being lazy and not exercising. I'm no longer going to tolerate eating food while I'm sitting down in front of the TV. You've got to have this new foundation that you raise as you're aiming towards your goals, your dreams, as you're being ambitious. If you're not raising your foundation, you can literally fall and crumble. What about in business? If we are not developing leaders, if we are not developing systems, if we are not developing culture, oh my gosh, whether it's an entrepreneurial journey or it's at your job, like I said, you literally can be so volatile. You're not doing the things you need to do. You're not raising that level of foundation. Have you ever noticed someone that advanced too quickly? Maybe they got promoted too quickly, or maybe they climbed the ranks in their entrepreneurship journey or their home-based business, and their mindset and their skill set wasn't caught up to the level that they were supposed to be on. They weren't developed. Now, sometimes that's just lack of exposure. Can't do anything about that, right? Except you got to get on the fast track, and you're going to have to hump it to grow and develop. Otherwise, it's going to fall apart. But if you're not raising the level of foundation and developing those internal things, that internal bar, realizing what you will no longer tolerate with the new you that you are building, my friend, it's going to fall apart. And I think sometimes financially, this is where we don't do it. So many of us want to be able to advance our life. So many of us want to become financially free. Hopefully, that's one of the reasons why you're following me. I want you to live in freedom. I want you to be empowered. I want you to develop your voice. I want you to know that there is nothing, literally nothing that you can't do without hard work. As long as you're working hard, as long as you're putting legs to your prayers, as long as you're showing up, as long as you're disciplined, as long as you're leaning into that grace and faith in your spirit, in your soul, in your life, there's literally nothing that you can't do. And so many of us are chasing financial freedom. And guess what? We're doing all the right things. We're doing all the right things. And here's our foundation, and we're growing. And next thing we know, we're making $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month, $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month. But we never raise the foundation financially. And we wonder why we've seen so many people, like I said, the millionaires fall all the way back down, because they didn't raise their level of foundation. Maybe you in the entrepreneurial space, you wonder, why do I bounce from a $10,000 check all the way down to a $2,000 check, up to an $8,000 check? And we just want to say that that's business. We just want to blame, there's ups and downs in business. No, my friend, that is valid. But how much of the up and down, how volatile you put yourself in a position of, that's on you. That's on you, because you can want a $10,000 check. You could be, let's just say you're making an average of $5,000 a month, whether you're at your corporate job, whether you're a realtor, you're in some kind of sales commissions-based thing. You're making $5,000 a month, okay? And you say, I want 5 figures a month. That's the big stretch goal. That's the thing that you're pushing for, you're fighting for, you're hustling, you're showing up, you're in alignment for, you're casting your faith, all this stuff, okay? I want the $10,000 a month. But if you don't have a mindset of, I no longer tolerate less than 4,000, less than 3,000. See, if you don't raise the level of your foundation, you could go all the way back down to 1,000 a month. And we know a $5,000 a month and $1,000 a month, that's a big gap, right? That's a pretty big gap. Again, no matter what, I'm talking all careers right now. That is a huge, huge gap. And so when you show up financially and you say, I'm no longer going to tolerate less than $3,000 a month, now you've established something. Now you know if business starts dipping, which we all know business goes like this, right? It's fine. It does go like that. But what are you no longer going to tolerate is what I'm asking you. Okay, life can get the best of us. Busyness can get the best of us. But if we're not raising that foundation, I mean, even in our marriage, before everything went on in the world, we were having Monday night date nights. And then the world exploded in March, right? And all of a sudden, date nights went away because we got distracted. And as the month started going on, it was like, oh my gosh, we might not be able to go out. We might not be able to get a babysitter and go to all these fancy dinners, but we need that in our marriage. I need that as a wife. And so I will no longer tolerate where we are not spending some time together on Monday nights. And so guess what we did on Monday nights? Even if it's just as simple as us taking our dinner and sitting outside alone on our patio, on our porch, our back porch, while the kids are inside eating dinner, even if it's as simple as that, we're going to raise the level of foundation. We're going to have those non-negotiables. I will no longer tolerate going a week without having that moment with my husband because it's important to me. And so my friends, I want you to be encouraged today. There is so much more out there on the table for you. There's so much more, but don't let your life unravel and derail too much because you are not raising the level of your foundation. That's something that you have the ability to do. And so it is a new way of life. It is a new way of thinking. It is a new way of drawing a line in the sand and saying, I'm not going back. Things can get bad, but they will not get less than this. They will not get less than this. My friend, you have the ability to raise the level of your foundation. So stop joking around. Don't be afraid to call what's not as if it were so and go change your life. That's all I got for today, my friends. Mayfield out.